Bear, you're soaked. Hey y'all, I went out of town this weekend. We just got back this afternoon. It has been pouring down rain all day, which means, I mean, it's great. The grass is going to grow like crazy. The garden is going to grow like crazy. But when I've been out of town for a few days, especially when I have like seeds in the soil that I'm waiting for germination and stuff, I'm just chomping at the bit to get out in my garden and look at everything. But it's been raining. It's actually let up just a little bit right now. And I'm going to get down to the greenhouse because I need to harvest some things. But first I'm putting the kettle on to make a cup of tea. It's dreary days call for tea. I took my boys, 4 of my boys. Jackson had to work this weekend, so he wasn't able to go with us. But Asher, Toby, Ezra, and Ben and I all went up to Greenville for a big ComicCon. So, so funny. I am admittedly like not like hardcore into any sort of like nerd culture. I really like Lord of the Rings. I've read all those books, of course watched all those movies. But people often make comments about the fact that I've got Spock hanging out up there on the top of a cabinet. That's a cookie jar. Some people are like, do you have the bust of a man looking out over you in your kitchen? And I'm like, yes, I do. That was actually sent to us by a viewer like our first year doing YouTube. Because I married a nerd. Jeremiah is intensely like a huge like Star Trek, Star Wars, multiple different fandoms. He's like deeply into Marvel, all the different things, likes comic books, likes all that stuff. And because of that, our kids are definitely into it. Asher likes cosplaying, and he has for quite a while now, which, you know, it tracks. I remember when Asher was like 4, he wore a Mario hat for like a year and a half. I mean, he's always been into like playing characters and stuff like that. We used to play pretend, where he would decide what character we were at the beginning of the day, and we would just have to pretend to be that character all day. And so it's not even remotely surprising that he has like matured into actually cosplaying at Comic Cons. Maya took the kids to the last Comic Con they went to, and this weekend I took them. It's fun. That my boys asked me this weekend, they're like, Mom, this really isn't like your kind of thing, is it? And I'm like, you know, hanging out with you guys is my thing. I really enjoy being with you while you're doing what you enjoy doing. I did get this really cute new mug at the con. Is it what you were expecting when you pushed out the door, sir? This is how Jamie feels about all the rain. Just kidding, that's just his face. He feels that way about everything. Here come the boys, soaking wet, running down the driveway because they decided to go play outside even though it was pouring down rain. Alright, so the rain is picking back up, and I want to take you guys with me. If I were just by myself, I would just walk down to the garden. No big deal. I would just get wet and put on dry clothes when I got back. But since I'm carrying my camera and carrying camera, umbrella, and then cup of tea and stuff back, it would just be a little problematic. So we're just going to drive the car down the driveway. I have been laughing every time I get in the car with an open mug now, because I shared, like years ago, it was on Instagram, and I shared how at the time I was driving my kids to school and I was drinking my morning coffee, and I would take an open mug in the car. And yes, I have travel mugs, but I just don't know why. I think that I enjoy the challenge. I only spill it like 1 out of every 10 or 15 times, and only spill it a little bit, and I don't know, I just like the challenge. So since then, everybody has been tagging me in these reels where people talk about the type of person who drinks out of an open mug in like traveling situations, or just takes open mugs everywhere, and like, well, these are like masters of chaos. And so now every time I bring a mug in my car, I'm laughing privately with myself and with you all, even though you're not here and you don't know about it. Oh man, my to-do list is so long this week. I've been so focused on the garden, the raised bed garden and the cottage garden the last really 2 weeks, and like the whole time I've just come down into this garden really to harvest things, and unfortunately right now I'm kind of embarrassed to show you guys all the weeds. My handy dandy harvest basket situation, an Aldi bag. I have lots of harvest baskets there in the greenhouse. I decided to just grab this. I need to get some beets because I'm gonna make some pickled eggs with beet pickled eggs. I'm gonna grab some kale and some carrots because I've been using my juicer again. I took a break from it for a while because I went on carnivore for a good long while, and I've since gone. I'm mostly just trying to eat food that makes me feel good. I'm not really trying to follow any sort of like specific way of eating or anything like that, but I got my juicer back out and I've been loving it, and especially since I had, I'm pulling weeds. That's why I say the best medicine for the garden is the gardener, because if you just get in it, the next thing you know, you'll be taking care of it. But I had a bunch of beets. I had kale coming in a lot. I had carrots. I had the things that make for a really good juice. Forgot how good it is. Like, it just feels good. Juice makes me feel good. So yeah, grabbing some of this. And I'm not gonna put this in the bag yet because I've got those beets and carrots and they're gonna be dirty. So I'm just gonna throw this in my car. I will rinse this off, but if I don't, you know, pile a bunch of dirty root vegetables on top of it, I won't have to be as mindful to get it clean because it's already pretty clean. You know, I say that I'm not like into, you know, I say nerd culture is what they all call it. That's what Jeremiah calls it. But like the ComicCon stuff. But really, I think we all just have our things. And my thing is not sci-fi or fantasy. However, I'll be at the Homesteading Festival in Tennessee in June. Rory Feek's event. I'll be speaking there again. So excited, and I'm excited to meet all of you who are coming. There are certain demonstrations that I get to catch during stuff like that, and you will see my eyes get so big and I'm like hanging on every word that is said. Or like there's a fiber arts festival in North Carolina this fall that I'm hoping to go to. Same thing. We all have our things. Yeah, 2 weeks worth of neglect and all the rain we've had has this area looking pretty rough right now, but we'll whip it back into shape this week. My issue in here is that the grass is growing up super high because it hasn't dried out enough to actually do anything about it for the last week and a half. It's pretty wild. There's a lot of food in here though. So I've had a lot of people ask me about Will lately. So Will is still working here 1 to 2 days a week, weather permitting. He's still a massive help. We didn't go into like great depth about that when we first did our video talking about scaling back. We didn't talk a ton about our employees because we were basically just working with everybody to kind of like make sure that they didn't have the rug pulled out from underneath them, and everybody just made adjustments. Part of scaling back meant lowering our budget just all around, and obviously that means lowering payroll. I've always said that when people ask about the scale of what we're doing, that our farm as it was a year ago was not a 2-person farm. And though Jeremiah and I are here, 2 people, like we're doing other time-consuming jobs. And so in scaling back, it was bringing it back to a place that our family could largely care for it. And, you know, still having Will here is, I mean, it helps me still have the capacity to make videos, but also I just love Will, and he's my friend, and I love getting to work with him, and I learn a lot from him, and he's super helpful. But with scaling back, I mean, we still have a lot of garden space. And the truth is that I'm probably just going to have to lower my standard a little bit. I'm just going to have to be okay with some spaces being a little bit weedy and everything not being optimally done. Like right now, I mean, we were taking the energy we had and focusing on the other space, and this one got a little out of hand. Now we're going to shift here, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of like ping pong playing as far as getting all of this done. And it's okay. Imperfect gardens produce a lot of good food too. So I've got some massive beets here. I actually intentionally will let some beets get really big. I harvest some of them small. They're really good for roasting when they're smaller, but when they get really big like this, they're still great for pickling. If you're going to just cube them up and pickle them, it's the texture ends up being the exact same as if you harvested them small. And since you get 1 beet per seed you plant, now I have to leave them in longer in this space to get this much, but in the seeds I planted in the space, preparing this space, by letting them get this much bigger, I'm just getting a lot more volume of food. And I've been juicing them. So I've got an orange one here, as you can see. I'll typically let them grow until they're kind of at danger of going to seed. And that's kind of where we are with some of these. There's a big red one. Y'all, I picked the biggest carrot I've ever seen in my life in this high tunnel the other day. It was absolutely absurd. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen. It was as big as my forearm. That's not an illusion. That carrot was really just that big. And I wasn't anticipating it. Honestly, had I thought that it was going to be anywhere near that big, I would have turned the camera on, and that is why I'm about to harvest a couple more with the camera on. Y'all should have heard me hooping and hollering over that carrot. It wasn't hollow or split or anything, and everybody's going to ask me the variety, and I don't know it. It's a purple hybrid carrot. It's an F1 hybrid seed I got. It was pelleted. Somebody had sent it to me. The seed itself was from Johnny's. And I had just thrown them in here, but I have a couple more in here that are looking pretty big by their shoulders. I'd be shocked if I got more carrots that size that were good. I've pulled out big carrots before, but they'd always split or something like that. But this one is totally usable. I juiced it, and it was like this big around. It was crazy. I was just so dumbfounded by it. I just wanted to show everybody in the world my carrot. If there were a carrot con, I would totally go to it. All right, let's see. This one's really big too. Oh my God, guys, it's gonna be good. Okay, are you ready? I'm gonna go slow. Oh my goodness, that is insane. I've never, this one actually has a couple little oddities. That other one didn't. But this is still like, it looks good. I just cannot even. It's crazy. That is so crazy. I just need somebody to make a big deal out of this carrot. I've got another one here that's got big shoulders. Let's see. Oh, this one's not as good. It'll be fine for juicing. It's got a little oddity. That's normal for, like, carrots split, you know, when there's like rocks in the soil or anything like that. And when they get bigger, they have a tendency to do that. This is crazy. Oh, it makes me want to pull them all up, but I'm kind of liking having them in the ground for when I need them. Okay, one more. This one looks really big too. Yep. Okay, this one's weird. This is more what I would expect from carrots getting this big. There's probably like 10 or 12 carrots left in this little space. I was just kind of going slow with them, like picking at them when I needed like 1 or 2 for soup or something like that. And I've actually planted a lot more. I've got more coming up in different stages right now, which by the time summer comes, I'll be harvesting everything else that's here, and then it'll be too warm for carrots, and then I'll plant more in the fall. These were planted in like October, these really big ones. And while this is weird, and this carrot might not be great to eat fresh, I don't know, that one the other day was still pretty good. Maybe not like the absolute best texture, but at least right after it was harvested, it was still pretty good. But as I said, I'm primarily just juicing them. These things are monsters. I will try to figure out what the variety is. I don't remember, but I'll like go on Johnny's website and look through and see if I can figure out what it is, because I want to plant them again. I know you want to plant them. This one is probably, that's about the size of the one the other day. The other one might have been just a tiny bit bigger. That's crazy. So this tunnel is about to get a pretty solid overhaul. This is where all the peppers are going this year. That's the other reason why it just hasn't been a priority to get out here and reset it, because I wasn't ready to plant the peppers out. But obviously a lot of the brassicas that were out here have started going to seed. Like those were cabbages that went to seed before they ever got ahead, which that happens here. Here's my next round of carrots, which probably gonna, I did thin them initially, but I may thin them one more time. Or just let them grow, because I don't think I'm going to let them get very big, since the summer will come and they won't do well with the heat. So out here is going to be peppers, and I'm going to do a few tomato plants in this space. I don't love growing tomato plants in high tunnels. Tomatoes taste better when they experience stress. Like the chemicals that they create to cope with stress, which it could be, stress could be like high temperatures or inconsistent watering or pest pressure. Obviously we don't want pest pressure, because if you got a lot of pest pressure, it's typically an imbalance. But you can kind of benefit from your tomatoes dealing with letting them actually get dry, like going a few days between watering rather than watering them a little bit every single day. Water them very deeply every few days. And it honestly, it'll just create better tasting tomatoes. So that is why a lot of times like greenhouse grown tomatoes are lacking somewhat in flavor versus those homegrown tomatoes that come out of the garden, just because they have a more controlled environment. Obviously, they've got shade cloth in this case. They have watering is going to come from us rather than from the rain because they're blocked from the rain. And I just don't love tomatoes grown under these conditions. They don't taste as good as the ones grown out in the garden. But considering the fact that I want to eat fresh out of my garden all year, and I'm trying to succession sow to keep as much going as long as possible throughout the garden for fresh eating rather than just trying to grow a whole lot at once for preserving, I am going to put some tomatoes out here, because even if they don't taste quite as good, they will live longer because they won't have as much stress. It's a trade-off. Obviously, less stressed plants are going to be healthier and they're going to live longer. So the fruit might not be as flavorful, but I will have fruit longer. And I would rather have like 80% of the flavor for an extra month and a half versus getting full flavor only for that smaller window. Ooh, I just saw this. That's exciting to see. Strawberries in my future. Carrots in my grocery bag. This is my kind of grocery shopping, don't you think? Like Dennis the Menace part of me that just wants to push the button and wants to pull all of the carrots out of the garden right now, even though I don't have a plan of what I would do with them. So I'm going to leave them, but just really want to. It's so tempting. I was just carrying this over and thinking I made the right decision on bringing my car down here. I wanted to show y'all. This is, okay, so these are leeks right here. But these are carrots that actually reseeded. So I had a few, there was probably like 4 carrots left here last year that I was trying to see how big they would get and how far they would go in the season. And in about June to July, they went to seed. And I just let them grow because I love carrot blooms for bouquets. They're so pretty. And so I was picking flowers, but obviously I didn't pick all of them. And some of the seeds fell. And I don't know, I really like to see what kind grow. I don't know if I'll leave all of them. I'll just have to watch and see if they're interfering with the leeks. Pretty sure they were Danvers that were here. And down here, I planted these about, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks ago. Probably a little on the late side for sowing here. I just feel like it's always a gamble whenever you're growing certain things in the garden. You know, certain things are guaranteed. Like, I know I can grow a tomato in the summer here. I know I can grow kale in the winter here. And I know that there are certain windows that I can definitely grow, like carrots and brassicas or whatever. But I'm the one that always tells everybody just sow the seeds, because you'll get nothing if you don't sow them. And I'm way more like apt to gamble in the fall garden. Like, I'll sow things in August and September just on the off chance that we have like a late freeze. But I've been way more cautious when it comes to sowing things in like February, March, April that are cool weather things, just because I live where it's really hot. But I did try some things this year. A lot of my brassicas just went to seed. I didn't get anything from them. But I think I will end up with more carrots than I've ever had in the spring and early summer. Because normally I just throw my hands up. If I don't get them started well by the beginning of March, I'm like, oh, it's too late. But this year I sowed some, so we'll see. Framing my garden and wanting a fresh eating garden, wanting to be able to treat this like a daily market that I come out to, gather my ingredients and go in and cook, and really just fully focusing on that has really caused me to push myself in certain areas. And I just love things that challenge me and cause me to like think differently. And this has definitely done that. So anyway, I'm gonna carry my food back in. It is starting to pour down rain. My kids are splashing in puddles. And I am gonna go make some pickled eggs and some juice. And then I'm gonna cook dinner. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I bless you. Until next time.